Time to winterize my new Forest River Cherokee 264L travel trailer. Never done this before. Thought I would video blog it so you guys can laugh at all my newbie mistakes. Here you go.
Preparing to winterize. There's snow on the ground, so that means it could freeze. First thing I'm doing is draining all the water from the fresh water tank.
I located the low point drain for the hot and cold water lines, unscrewed the little caps on the line, let the water drain, screwed the caps back in so I don't forget about it.
And while that's draining, I'm going to go over and I'm going to see about taking the anode rod out of the water heater. This is a propane and electric water heater. There's the electric heater element, and this is the anode rod nut, and there is a switch, and you want to turn the electric water heater to off, or it could be, you know, trying to heat an empty tank, and I don't think that would be good. The anode rod takes a 1 1/16 socket, I believe. I need two hands, so I'll show you after I'm done. Alright, I loosened it with the wrench. I'm going to unscrew it. It's probably going to be hot water. I just turned it off a while ago, so I'd be careful not to burn yourself if you're following my video to do your job. I've never done this before, so we're learning together here. And it's draining water slowly. And I bet you if I pull this relief valve, it's going to shoot up. There we go. Alright, we can get it draining fast. Yep, now it's pouring. And all the hot water is going to come out. Don't want that freezing up in there. While everything is draining, I'm going to prepare the winterization of the water pipes. This is a clip-on air nozzle and a blowout plug, and that's just a regular valve like you see on a bicycle tire, and this just clips on there and will blow air through the airlines to kind of dry them out with a little compressor. But one important thing is that we don't want to go over 25 psi, so the regulator valve there, we're going to adjust that down until the gauge on the right says 25 or maybe 30, but 25 will be good enough. And we're going to go blow out the airlines. So I'm going to put it all together and pump it up. As it turns out, newbie's mistake, that's not a threaded bicycle tire valve at all, and I don't have any hoses and stuff to adapt to my compressor, so another trip to the hardware store to see what solutions there are. It's Christmas Eve and Camping World's not going to be open. When I was at Camping World, I was told to buy that, and I said, well, maybe I should buy the more expensive one, but no, let's not, just to spend money. After all that, I needed the more expensive one, and I believe it might have been cheaper at Ace Hardware than Camping World. I put a little pipe tape, plumber's tape, on the anode rod. Anode rod is good, it's not corroded at all. They look bad when you pull them out sometimes, I hear, but they're still good for a while. So you don't have to replace them as soon as it looks like it's corroded. You have to wait till it's fully corroded or you're wasting money. Anyway, we're going to go screw that back in the water heater. Okay, I had to futz with it a little bit to get it started, so yeah, I would make sure not to cross thread it, or I bet you're replacing the whole assembly. They're probably not cheap. Okay, I got her torqued down. Didn't find anything that said how many pounds of pressure to use or anything like that, so I just used reasonable force to make sure it's not going to leak. It's got the plumber's tape. I think it'll be fine, and will come out okay, since I didn't put a 100-pound torque wrench on it or something. I'm going to close the relief valve now so I don't forget when I start the thing up again next year. I think we're done with the water heater on this side. We got to go turn the bypass valve on the other side. That's next step. Okay, so the water heater was right outside underneath that window, so we come down, not there. Access panel. Alright, I'm gonna almost guarantee that's where the water heater is at. Looks like 4 Phillips screws. I'm gonna pull them out. Sure enough, there's a water heater behind there with 3 valves. One to close the hot, one to close the cold, and one to switch to bypass so that if water does flow, it doesn't go into the water heater. So I'm going to turn all 3 valves. I don't know how well it's going to turn out, but all 3 valves are now flipped to the opposite position they were. Alright, not going to put the panel back in. Got to put it back in when I turn it back on, so I'm just going to set it in there. Now the screws, I bet, would roll around when I go drive it to the lot or move it around or anything, so I am not going to put those under there and then try and search for them. So I'm going to put them in like a kitchen drawer or something so I can easily find them next year. Okay, water's all drained. I'm going to close the valve. Okay, found the access panel for the pump. I have trouble is turn on the pump, I guess, and listen for it, and that's what I did, and here it was. Took the panel off, and they already have the winterizing hose and valves set up, so that's awesome. I feel like before I blow out any air, I need to run the pump for a second just to clear any water that could be in the intake line to the pump from the fresh water tank. So I'm going to run the pump for 20 seconds, I don't know. Don't want to run it too long because running a dry pump is not a good thing. Not being an RV expert, I don't know if it's meant to do this or not. Alright, so I ran the pump. Obviously there's no water in the pump now, and hopefully it sucked up any residual water in the hoses. Drained the black tank and the gray tank at the last campsite, so they're empty, but I feel like I need to blow out any water that could be in the black tank flush line. And this is the line that you hook a hose up to and spray water into the black tank to clean it up a little bit so you don't have to go through the toilet with a nozzle and spray it that way. So I got the pressure set to about 28, between 25 and 30, and I got my little locking nozzle. I'm going to put it on there and see how it works. Okay, so you pull the lever, stick it on, and let the lever out, and it holds it in place, hopefully.
I turned the compressor regulator valve down to 0 psi, moved the air adapter over to the city water connection, and reattached the hose. I'm gonna open up the hot water shower valve before applying pressure, just not to give it an instantaneous blast to the system. Turned it up to 25 psi and watched the water come out of the shower hose. Hence clearing the valve for the outdoor shower. When that ran dry, I closed that valve and opened the cold water valve and repeated the process. Now I'll leave the air on and move to the inside of the coach and repeat the process on the other valves.
I'm going to open one valve at a time until no water runs out. Okay, it looks like the cold water valve in the kitchen or the galley is just about empty. Okay, there. I'd expect to see some spurting, but I don't know, maybe not. I'm going to close that one and open this one. So the hot water's coming up here. Now I can definitely hear the air coming in, so it's pushing air. So now I'm going to do the live. And nothing's coming out. And I'm going to do the cold water. It's pretty dry. And right here, this is the one everybody forgets. Don't forget the toilet. So let's run that until that's dry. That's the closest one to the pump. The shower, I think I'll lower that hose. Nothing's coming out there. And a little coming out the cold. Well, I've drained the freshwater tank, drained the hot and cold low point drain lines, run air through all of the valves and hoses, the shower hose, and flush the toilet. I think I've done everything I need to do before running antifreeze through the system. It says I should use about 2 gallons, but I don't know. We'll find out. I'm going to start with the furthest points away, I think. I think that's right. We'll find out, when things freeze up and I have to replace all my plumbing. But anyway, there's a couple of valves on here.
So I left the diverter valve shut and went and turned the pump on. Went back and stuck the hose in the antifreeze and turned the diverter valve on so that we could suck antifreeze from the jug, and started filling up the system. And then I went outside and opened the hot and cold shower drains until pink juice squirted out.
Okay, I'm going to run water until I see pink. Okay, pink on that one. Pink on that one. And we'll go to the bathroom sink. We're getting pink already. Make sure it doesn't run clear. Pink on that one. So make sure we're going to clear water. Alright. I'm doing a little more than most people probably would. I want to put that away from me. Until I see pink. Okay, that's enough pink. Turn the other one on. That should be clear. Go clear for a second and then go pink. I think that's done. Alright. Leave that down like that. Or should I put it up? I just don't know. And then we're going to do a couple of flushes. Now, since I've put some water back in the black and gray tanks, I hope there's enough antifreeze mixed with it to to dilute the water so it doesn't freeze. I'm going to pour some more down there and then also leave some in the P-trap. So I got another gallon for that. That might be too much, but better safe than sorry at this point. Alright, so I'm going to actually not just make sure that there's some covering the seal, but I'm going to flush a little bit more antifreeze down into the black tank. Okay, I'm also pouring a bit more down into the gray tank, plus filling the P-trap. Same in the shower, just to make sure the P-trap is full of just antifreeze and not water. I'd like it to be good to minus 10 or 20. Doesn't have to be minus 50 in Oregon, but I want to make sure. Same thing for the kitchen P-traps. I didn't put think about anything ahead of time as far as how much water would be mixed with the antifreeze when I was flushing that stuff. Hopefully none, because I air dried it, but you never know. Okay, so I cleaned out the pink stuff. I don't think it hurt anything to have it in there, but cleaned up my mess in here so my wife doesn't yell at me. Don't know if I was supposed to leave the shower hanging down or up. I don't know. I don't think it matters. One of the things for driving that's nice to actually latch the shower shut, so I'll do that now. Gonna lose that and never find it if I don't put it in there. And should probably stow the toilet roll dispenser, so when I haul it over to the tow yard or the storage lot, it doesn't damage my wife's walls. She would kill me there too. So I got a lot of ways to die if I do things wrong. Winterizing, I think it's probably a good idea to use some, air dryer for the humidity. I don't know what is right, what's the best. I bought this stuff. Looks like it, should do all right, but who knows? I don't know where to keep it either. Okay, just finished my first winterization on our new travel trailer. Removed all the fittings, closed all the caps, closed up the utility shower, put the blowout valve and associated hardware in my little kit that I keep in the stove or in the basement. And after we have Christmas, I'm gonna give her a wash down, and if I get a day of sunshine, I might spray it down with some protectant, and then we'll put it away for the winter. When we winterized, I put this damp rid in to, absorb all the moisture in the trailer, and I left it sitting on the counter when we drove it to the storage lot, and it dumped everywhere. I heard a shriek from my wife when she opened the door. She gave me a very evil eye because it was all over the place. She has since cleaned it up except for what is down the heater vent, and I'm gonna get the old screwdriver out and pull the vent and get that stuff out of there before I move the trailer again. Got out all the moisture absorbent out of the heating vent. Okay, so when driving, I recommend some sort of safe stowage of the damp rid. I'm just going to do that.
Well, from Jeff and Marilyn, the crappy hampers, happy campers, hope you enjoyed the show.